All right, welcome guys. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. We got a nice 7-game slate to talk about here. So if you guys are new to the channel, new to the live stream, how this works is we'll take a look at what we know so far as injury news, review the Vegas odds, and I'll go team by team, talk about the players I like, and then we can get to questions at the end. So let's get to what we know so far here for news. So, let's see. Eric Gordon is out for today. PJ Tucker also out. They signed Mason Jones to a 10-day contract because they need him to have 8 healthy bodies. So, Houston should have only 8 healthy players. Nwaba is questionable, but I think he's only available in case of emergency. Let's see. Joel Embiid probable. The big news, obviously, great news. Karis LeVert will make his debut on Saturday. That is really, really good. Aaron Gordon out. Terrence Ross out. The Magic are pretty thin. Let's see. John Wall out. Victor Oladipo out. Again, Houston really, really thin here. Daniel House out. Kuruk's out. Christian Wood is still out. David Nwaba, questionable, but I think he's only going to be available in case of emergency here. So they should only have 8 healthy bodies, that being Kevin Porter Jr., Malcolm Moore, Sterling Brown, Jay Sean Tate, Patton, Mason Jones, who is not in the player pool, Martin Jr., Anthony Lamb, and, again, Nwaba. SGA is out for Saturday. Pascal Siakam is, again, that's out for Saturday. Those Raptors guys are all still out. Blake Griffin is still out. Let's see. So that's basically it for what we got so far. So let's take a look at these Vegas odds. We have the Cavs. We have the Pelicans. It's a 228 over under. The Pelicans are 7-point favorites. Nuggets and Grizzlies, a 229 over under. The Nuggets are 3-point favorites. 76ers and Wizards, a 235 over under. The 76ers are 4.5-point favorites. Heat, Bulls, 221 over under. The Heat are 2-point favorites. Magic, Spurs, a 214.5 over under. The Spurs are 7.5-point favorites. And Rockets, Jazz, 228 over under. 228.5 over under. The Jazz are 18.5-point favorites here. And Pacers, Lakers, 217.5 over under. The Lakers are 4.5-point favorites. All right, so let's start off with Philly and Washington. On the Philadelphia side, Joel Embiid at 10.7K. Fully expected to play here. I think he's one of the best bet-ups. Love the matchup here. Should play 35 to 40 minutes. With no Ben Simmons, too, he does get a pretty big boost. So really, really do like Joel Embiid at the top. Tobias Harris is viable, a little bit more in the mid-range. He was on pace to smash that last game. Unfortunately, it was a blowout. If you played him last slate, you made the correct play. You just got very unlucky that game ended up blowing out. On this slate, I think he's more of a secondary play for me. Would just rather get to Embiid. Other options, there's no way I'm paying $6K for Dwight Howard. Shake Milton, Seth Curry, kind of secondary options. I think this is setting up for the Stars and Scrubs build. Not saying they're completely out of play because I like the matchup, but it's kind of setting up for you get your value in and then you get your 2 to 3 studs in your lineup. So, yeah, honestly, not a 10 else I like here for Philly. I'm probably going to stay away from everyone else. On Washington, really what we're waiting for is just Brad Beal. So that will change some things. If Brad Beal is, in fact, out, then Russell Westbrook at the top becomes a really good play that would increase the chance of a blowout. Let's see, where is it at right now? It's only a 4.5-point spread, but I think if Beal gets ruled out, that might go up to like 8 or 9. So that would, just make everyone in this game a little bit riskier. Like Embiid, slightly riskier. Westbrook would get a huge boost, but that would increase the chance of a blowout. So I'd really like Westbrook, and then we'd have to see what they would do with the starting lineup for Washington. Would they throw a guy like maybe Troy Brown or Jerome Robinson? I mentioned this in my video. These guys have kind of been out of the rotation, but they're actually solid point per minute guys when they do play. And I don't think they start Neto alongside Westbrook. Like I think they're going to need like a shooter, maybe like a Jerome Robinson. So we'll see. We'll see what they do there if there's no Beal. Possibly some interest depending on who they start for value. But the question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to play whoever, if Beal's out, whoever starts for him over the Houston value? It's a little difficult, right? Even some Orlando guys actually look pretty decent too, with them being thin. So that's kind of where I'm looking to for value at the moment. Rui, no thank you. Bertans, I'll pass. Denny Avdija was somewhat popular the last slate. Do we have to go there in the slate? I don't think we have to. I mean, he's not out of play, but he has a somewhat low floor. And the center rotation, I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with that headache on this slate. I don't think we have to. There's enough value elsewhere. So really, it's Westbrook. And that's basically it. If Beal plays, Beal's in play as well. But yeah, Westbrook would be the guy I would look to first if in fact Bradley Beal is not out, or if Bradley Beal is unable to play, and then possibly value depending on who they start. Cleveland and New Orleans, honestly, a game I have had a lot of interest in. Kevin Love, Garland, both questionable. Doesn't do a ton for me, honestly. Sexton seems a little bit overpriced. Jarrett Allen seems a little bit overpriced. I'm not paying that price for Chetty Osman with Larry Nance back. I'm not paying that price for Larry Nance with him most likely going to be limited. No thank you on $5K for Isaac Okoro. Absolutely not playing Dean Wade or Dylan Windler. No. So yeah, it's basically no one for me on Cleveland. On the New Orleans side, it's Zion, and I think that's it. And I do like Zion at 9.1K. I think he will go a little bit overlooked. I think, the chalk spend-ups will probably be Embiid, maybe a Jokic, Westbrook if there's no Beal, Vucevic. I think Zion might fly a little bit on the radar. Was on pace for a nice game, and then they got blown out by Minnesota, which is pretty embarrassing. But, yeah, Zion should play 35-plus minutes. He's been really consistent. I think he's a good spend-up. Ingram, nah. Lonzo, Bledsoe, nah. Steven Adams, if he plays over 30 minutes, I would like him. He was on pace for that last game, and then the game blew out. His minutes have been fluctuating, so you could go there, but it's a little bit riskier because there's no real guarantee for his minutes. Josh Hart, I just don't think we have to go to anyone else, really. I don't. I think this slate is pretty simple what you do. It's the value and 2 or 3 stars. All right, so that's 2 games up, 2 games down, guys. We are at 145 viewers, 27 likes. Let's try to reach 100 likes before the end of the show. That would be greatly appreciated. Denny RS, though? Or what do you mean by that? Anybody get KPG? Yeah. And I just realized that this slate actually locks in 2 hours. But we're just going to go with it. We're going to go a little bit early, I guess. So let's move on to Denver and Memphis. So on the Denver side, Nikola Jokic at 10.9K. He's a really good spend up, and he's going to be somewhat popular. I think Embiid will probably get more ownership. I like the matchup for Jokic. He's going to play big minutes. He's got triple-double upside, safe play with upside. So like Jokic a lot. Murray, MPJ, I don't know if we have to go there in the slate. They're fine for tournaments. We want to get a little bit different, right? We know I kind of mentioned what the chalk build is going to be. So, yeah, if you want to go to Jamal Murray, MPJ for tournaments, you can. But I'm personally probably not going to do it. Will Barton, secondary option. JaMychal Green, Paul Millsap, they are both questionable. If they are both out, then I think we could look to guys like, maybe a not Morris, a Composo, PJ Dozier for value. But what you have to ask yourself again is, are you going to play these guys over the other value on the slate? And the answer for me is, I'm probably not. Like, they're both okay values, but I want to go to a team that has 8-man rotation. So that's it for Denver. Moving on to Memphis. I think there's 2 plays. It's Ja and it's Jonas Valanciunas as contrarian plays in the slate. I don't think they're cash game plays. 8.1K. I mean, you guys, if you've watched my videos for the last few years, you know my love for Ja Morant. I think he's a good tournament play in the slate. Not really cash game play. Has gone for 58, 51, and 44 fantasy points the last 3 games. So the upside is there, but like I said, I don't think he's an optimal play on the slate. Jonas Valanciunas, kind of the same thing. He went for the upside is there. If he can stay out of foul trouble. He's been in foul trouble a lot recently. I think they're going to need him to guard Nikola Jokic, so I think we get around 30-ish minutes from him. But is he a priority? No. So it's those 2 guys. I like them in tournaments as lower owned plays. If you're playing a lot of the chalk on this slate, right, and you want to get different, I'm fine either getting to Ja or JV. Again, they are by no means optimal plays, but Denver's not been really great defensively, and these are the top 2 guys for usage for Memphis. So, Ja, JV at the top, both look pretty solid. Let's see. Kyle Anderson, no. Brooks, no. Clark, no. I mean, Grayson Allen's back too. That's one more body in this rotation. That hurts Bane, Melton. Their minutes should go down. Winslow, I think, still gets 20 to 25 minutes, but like the price is just right for him. So honestly, there's just not a ton else I like here for Memphis, really. DK, you the god. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. All right, let's move on to Orlando and San Antonio. So On the Orlando Magic side, Nikola Vucevic at 10.3K. Again, like I said, this slate is setting up for the Stars and Scrubs build. I do like Vuce a good amount here at the top. I think, if we look at Orlando, they have a very, very depleted roster. No Terrence Ross, no Aaron Gordon, no Evan Fournier, no Cole Anthony, no James Ennis, no Isaac, no Fultz, obviously. So the offense is going to be Nikola Vucevic. And I'm not really scared of San Antonio defensively, Jakob Poeltl or Drew Eubanks or Lyles or whoever they try to throw on him. I'm confident Vuce should be able to have his way. So I think Vucevic is one of the better spin-ups at the top for sure. Again, we got Vuce, we got Embiid, we got Jokic, we got Westbrook, Jimmy Butler. Those are the spin-ups I'm looking to. Even LeBron if you want to get a little bit contrarian. So yeah, I do like Vuce a lot at the top. MCW, I think, will fly under the radar. They're really thin at the guard position. He should play 30 to 35 minutes. He's a guy that can stuff a stat sheet. At this price point, again, not a priority, but I'm fine if you land on him. Al-Farouq Aminu's at 4.4. Don't love the price for him. I think I'd rather get to cheaper guys. Not saying he's out of play, but like I think I just prefer the price on other guys. Dwayne Bacon might be somewhat popular. He's going to play around 30 minutes. He shot the ball really well that last game. That's why he went for 28 fancy points. When he's not hitting shots like this game against Dallas, where he played 31 minutes, 9 fancy points. So, again, the question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to play Dwayne Bacon over the other value in the slate? My answer is I'm probably not. Now, that's not saying Dwayne Bacon can't get there, right? He's got to hit a shot. So, I don't know if he's going to hit his shots, but like that's the way he gets fancy points. So, if he's not shooting well, he is going to bust for you. Chuma Okeke at 3.2, not out of play. Been a lower usage guy. I think I would rather take a shot in one of these other value plays. Probably Randall, Kem Birch. Chason Randall is at 3.1K. Not an exciting play, but like he did play 30 minutes at last game, and they don't have a lot of bodies here. So like I'm guessing we get around 25-ish to 30 minutes and at close to min price. Yeah, I have some interest in Chason Randall. Kem Birch is at min price. He played 23 minutes the last game. He shot 0 of 6, but they don't have like a lot of options. So he's going to have to probably play around 20 minutes, I think is a viable play. No, I will not be playing Gary Clark. So low usage. So no thank you on Gary Clark. But yeah, that's what I got there for Orlando. So let's move on to San Antonio. On the San Antonio side, no DeMar DeRozan, no LaMarcus Aldridge. I like DeJounte Murray at the top. I think he does fly under the radar because the chalk build is going to be play 3 studs and then rest value. But DeJounte Murray is a guy that has a lot of upside in the mid-range. So if you're getting a little bit different and maybe playing a couple guys in the mid-range, DeJounte Murray would be one of the guys I would consider because he's got 50-plus fantasy point upside. The minutes have been there for him too. 35 and 35. The production, not so much. But again, no DeRozan is pretty big. And Orlando's not been great defensively. So I do like DeJounte as a contrarian play, kind of, I guess you consider him in the mid-range. Poeltl, I don't think we have to go there. Value plays, there's like Rudy Gay, Derek White, Keldon Johnson. Rudy Gay definitely the most contrarian of the bunch. He played well the last game, but like most of the time he's hovering around 20 minutes. Derek White shot the ball terribly, 1 of 8, but he should play close to 30 minutes. He's a guy that does have some upside. I do have some interest in Derek White, and I do have some interest in Keldon Johnson too. Both were somewhat popular last slate. Both were bust, but DeRozan just took over, and both those guys got limited a bit. They kind of got popped. I'm expecting more minutes for Keldon, more minutes for Derek White. They're just going to have to do a lot more offensively. So I like them both for value. There's always risk with the Spurs just because just any slate you can get popped. Like if you played Trey Lyles the last slate, you got popped. Patty Mills is honestly probably a little bit safer than those two, but Keldon, Derek White, in my opinion, have a lot more upside. So if you're shooting for the upside, it's White, it's Keldon Johnson. Lonnie Walker, I'll pass. Trey Lyles, I'm not going to go there. Drew Eubanks play. I think I'm going to pass on everyone else for the Spurs. So it's DeJounte Murray at the top. It's White and Johnson as cheaper plays if you're shooting for the upside. And that's really what I got for the Spurs. All right, so we got 3 games left here. Let's refresh Fantasy Labs. Let's make sure we're up to date. Let's see. All right, so moving on to Miami and Chicago. On the Miami side, so no Bam Adebayo. I like Jimmy Butler a lot at the top at 9.2K. Great matchup, revenge game narrative. He just continues to get it done no matter the matchup. So I think he'll be one of the more popular plays of the slate, but it's for good reason. I do like Jimmy a lot here. Not a lot of bad things to say about him. Dragic, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, more secondary plays for me. It is a good matchup, but none of those guys are priorities. The other guy I'm looking to really is Kelly Olynyk at 5.7K. He should play about 35 minutes. I love targeting bigs against Chicago. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, I'm expecting similar minutes, and he just gets a huge boost playing the center position as opposed to the power forward. So I do like Kelly Olynyk again at this price point. And then that's really it. Like, Precious Achiuwa actually lost minutes to Chris Silva, played the backup center. So I will not be even considering Precious Achiuwa on the slate. On the Chicago side, honestly, really nothing. I think Kobe White, if I had to pick one because of the price point, but they're really healthy. Like, I think Kobe White plays about 30 to 32 minutes at almost 7K. That doesn't really stand out. Does 9'6" Zach LaVine stand out? Not really. Lauri Markkanen? No. Wendell Carter Jr.? No. Thad Young? No. Otto Porter Jr.? Absolutely not. Just no one else I really have interest in for Chicago. So, team, I will be full fading. All right, now we get to the interesting game here. Let's see. We got 2 games left. We're over 200 viewers, guys. I know I'm starting a little bit early. That was actually by mistake. I thought it was a normal lock, but it's not. So, Houston, you're going to want to load up in Houston. There's no question about it. Like, play at least 2. I would say your range is anywhere, honestly, from 2 to 5. I think you could play up to 5 if you want to. So let's start at the top. Jayshawn Tate is at 5.8K. Just because the price, I don't love it. I would just rather get to those cheap options. Now, again, Jayshawn Tate's actually been a pretty solid player for Houston this year, but I'm not going to pay 6K for him. So secondary play for me, would rather get to other guys that are cheaper. Patton at 4.9, kind of the same thing. I think he's solid. He should play 25-ish minutes, 25 to 30. He got in foul trouble and shot 0 of 6, so he's probably not going to go for 11 again. But, like, what is the upside really of Patton? Maybe 25 to 30. At this price point, that's okay, but I think there's better point per dollar plays. Sterling Brown, now we're getting to some interesting plays. So, Sterling Brown, with it being most likely an 8-man rotation, I'm expecting around 30 minutes from him. We've actually seen some pretty big games from Sterling Brown, kind of in garbage time. Now, I think he will take a backseat offensively to Kevin Porter Jr., but I still have some interest in Sterling Brown at 4.5K. And then, Nwaba, I don't expect him to play. If he does play, that is one more body in the rotation. Then downgrade Houston value. Then I would say don't go as crazy with Houston because that's just one more guy that can soak up minutes. Probably not going to play Nwaba if he does play. I guess we'll have to see. It is only a wrist injury, so if he does play, maybe there's no limitations. But yeah, this is really where I want to live in these cheap options. First, obviously, the chalk. I don't have to tell you to play Kevin Porter Jr. You guys know that. Play Kevin Porter Jr. Don't get cute. He was low owned last slate. He won a lot of people money, big money. So now he's not going to be low owned. Now he's going to be 90% owned. But yeah, I'm not fading him. Let's see. Anthony Lambs, I'm probably not going to go there. Would rather get to other value for Houston. Ben McLemore, I'm guessing plays 25-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more. He's a good scorer, but also somewhat reliant in the scoring. So there's a little bit of risk involved with Ben McLemore, but he's cheap enough where it's like, I'm fine going there. And then Kenyon Martin Jr., KJ Martin, I think is one of the better value plays of the slate. He should play 25 to 30 minutes. He's at min price. He's a big. Besides Patton, they have no other bigs in the roster. So I think he's one of the better value plays of the slate. Really, again, load up on Houston value. So Kevin Porter Jr., Martin, McLemore, Sterling Brown. You can even consider guys like Patton, Jayshawn Tate. Absolutely love Houston. Even though they're most likely going to get blown out, they're going to have to play big minutes. So, I do like a lot of Houston, and I know it's not a contrarian take. On the Utah side, so we know that Houston is going to be very popular. If you think that the Rockets can keep it close, then, you can target the main 3 guys here for Utah. My issue is I am not fully confident about that. So, like, Mitchell, Gobert, Conley there's risks involved, not because of the matchup. It's a great matchup, just because there's a really good chance this game does not stay close. So, but I think that's what everyone is thinking, and they're going to avoid these Utah guys. And if Houston can somehow keep it close, I think you could see a massive game from at least one of the main 3 guys from Mitchell, Gobert, and Conley. So there's risk with all 3 of these guys, but there's also big reward if in fact Houston can keep this game close. So the main 3 guys for Utah I like. Probably my favorite point per dollar would be Mike Conley, But I like all three of the main guys. I'm probably not going to get, like, Clarkson and Ingles are secondary options to me. Those are guys to look to when one of like Mitchell or Conley are out. Bojan, too scoring dependent for my liking. Royce O'Neal, no. Ersan, I'm curious to see how he even going to be in the main rotation. So I'm going to stay away from everyone else for Utah. Finally, the Indiana Pacers and the LA Lakers. So Domantas Sabonis at 9.9K. I actually think will go overlooked in this slate, but no Marc Gasol, so he's going to be matched up against like Markieff Morris, Montrezl Harrell. I could buy into some Sabonis. He's going to play big minutes. Again, no Anthony Davis, no Marc Gasol. I've been thinking about this more. I do kind of like Sabonis as a contrarian spend up on the slate. I think people overlook him, but I do kind of like him. Brogdon, not as much. I think it's just a fine play. Still has upside, but that price doesn't really stand out. Again, the big news, obviously, we're getting LeVert back tomorrow. So excited to watch him play. Miles Turner, again, secondary option. The rest of the Pacers kind of stay away. I don't think I'm going to get to anyone else. I don't think we have to. Again, it's really setting up for that stars and scrubs build. It's like, I don't want to play like Justin Holiday at 5.3K. Why would I play him and maybe get 20 to 25 fantasy points? I don't think it makes sense in this slate. On the Lakers side, LeBron James also, in my opinion, will go overlooked. I do like him, though, at the top. So the chalk plays, Embiid, Jokic, Jimmy Butler, Vucevic. I think the stars in this game do go a little bit overlooked. I think that both Sabonis and LeBron have upside. Obviously, again, no Anthony Davis. I'm not super scared of. The Pacers is not like the best matchup in the world, but not the worst either. So I do like LeBron at the top, high usage, should play big minutes. Schroeder is a guy that, probably of the next three guys of Schroeder, Harold, Kuzma, his minutes are the most secure. Again, the price though doesn't really stand out. I'm curious to see what the Lakers do with the starting lineup. Like, do they start Montrezl Harrell? Do they start Damian Jones? Montrezl's minutes are just way up and down. I feel like whenever I play him, he just gets so limited. Whenever I fade him, he just goes off like he did that last game. Again, that was kind of clear, though, to play him because, the Lakers had, like, no one healthy that game. So Montrez, I think, is in play. Probably feel a little bit better if he starts, but I think that, they might start Damian Jones at the 5 and play him like kind of a Marc Gasol role, play him like 10 to 15 minutes, which would be a slight hit to Montrez. So I think of the guys in the mid-range of Schroeder, Harrell, Kuzma, I think the most upside here is Harrell if things go right. If the minutes are there for Harrell, I think he probably has the most upside of those three. Kuzma, again, fine, but doesn't stand out a lot at this price point. THT, not playing huge minutes. Caruso is back too. That's downgrade to him. I think Caruso probably plays about 15-ish minutes. Yeah, that's it. Like KCP, I just don't think we have to go there. He should play 20 to 25 minutes, but I just think there's better value in the slate. So that's really it for my breakdown, guys. 7 games up, 7 games down. Let's see. Let's get to some questions. So let's refresh Fantasy Labs. Make sure we're up to date here. I'll be on for a good another 10 minutes here. Let's see. Jimmy, Russ, and put in Kenny Martin if you don't have him. I like it. Russ side if Beal sits, yeah. If Beal sits and they start someone like Robinson or Troy Brown, that'd be an interesting GBP play. I agree. But again, like Troy Brown and Jerome Robinson are the guys that they are actually solid point per minute guys, but they have not really been in this rotation. So if one of those guys starts, I am intrigued by them for sure. Keldon Johnson or Derek White's a good question. I think it's basically a coin flip for me. I don't have a super strong take there. I'll be live in Patreon in 15 minutes. Yeah, so going to be an earlier stream here. KPJ, but the good thing is we're not really waiting on a ton of news besides that Beal news. KPJ easy GBP fade tonight in FanDuel. If he goes off and I lose money, I'm okay with it. Isn't he a little bit pricier on FanDuel? Isn't he like 4K-ish? Either way, though, like, I'd probably still play him there. Campozo or Monte Morris? Honestly, I don't think I would play either. Monte Morris is safer because I think he plays more minutes if you're going for the safety. Hey, DK, what do you think about MCW, Porter Jr., MCW, Kevin Porter Jr., Tate, Zion, Vooch, Brown, Olynyk, and Patton? And my issue with Jayshawn Tate is not that he's a bad player, but there's just the price at 5.8K. I don't know if that makes sense. So you do have 2 stars in there with Zion and Vooch. I think I like the build of getting to 3 stars. Thanks for everything you do, DK. God bless. Of course, man. Happy to help here. Lineup: DeJounte Murray, Kevin Porter Jr., Jayshawn Tate, KJ Martin, Olynyk, Derek White, Jimmy Butler, and LBJ. Okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah. Again, my just the one thing I will mention about Jayshawn Tate is he's not cheap. Like, he's 5.8K. He can still get there for sure. But I think there's better optimal plays, like the cheaper guys for Houston. But I do like that lineup. I do. Yeah, 5,200 utility. Again, the mid-range is not really where I want to be. There's like a couple guys that are intriguing, right? Like DeJounte Murray, Kelly Olynyk. But other than that, yeah. I think in this range, if you're at 5,200, I would go to either Derek White or Keldon Johnson. Those are the guys. Now, they're still a little bit risky because it's Popovich, but those two have the most upside besides DeJounte Murray, in my opinion. I saw me fade KPJ today. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be popular, but like, I think the only way he doesn't get there is an injury. I will mention he did go to the locker room last night, so like, I guess you could bank on that and hope that happens if you're fading him. But yeah, I will not be fading him. I would probably play him on FanDuel too. White, McLemore, KPJ, Martin, Vooch, Westbrook, Butler, and Olynyk. Yeah, I think it's a good lineup. I do. It's very, very similar to what I got going on here. Westbrook, Kevin Porter Jr., Jimmy, Olynyk, Embiid, Randall, Martin, and Patton. I think that's good as well. Any thoughts on Ersan for value? Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think I'm going to do it. Will he play in the blowout? I just don't know what his role is going to be. Is he going to be a part of the regular rotation? Or is he just going to kind of be like a 10th man on the bench that, only comes in for blowouts? I'm not sure. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from Ersan. Could we see any Milton or Curry? I think on a regular slate where there isn't a ton of value, yes, I think they're both pretty good plays in the mid-range. But like I said, I have a hard time getting away from that 3 stars and the rest of the value build. Can you play KPJ, Martin, and Randall in a single entry GPP? Of course you can. Jimmy and Embiid or Westbrook and Vooch? Yeah, it's a good question. I will say I think Jimmy and Embiid are going to be more popular. So cash games, I think, would be the first option. I do, again, if there's no Bradley Beal, I'm pretty high on Russell Westbrook. So I would say the first one is the more optimal one. Jimmy and Embiid. If you want to get a little bit different, I'm perfectly okay getting to Westbrook and Vooch. Yeah, Jimmy side, yeah, again, I think the Jimmy side is a little more optimal. Kevin Porter Jr., almost 5K in FanDuel. Would rather go Martin and GPP? I think I still play him there. Jimmy or LeBron? Honestly, I think it's got to be Jimmy. Better matchup and he's cheaper. And again, no Bam and a buyout for the showdown slate. What do you think about Harrell, captain, LeBron, Sabonis, Brogdon, Morris, and Sumner? Yeah, I think it's a slightly risky lineup just because Harrell's minutes, even though like there's no Gasol and Anthony Davis, he still can't trust it sometimes. So, but I like the upside there. Rudy Gay. More contrarian. He played a little bit more because Keldon Johnson foul trouble. His minutes also do kind of fluctuate. So, yeah. Butler, Sabonis, or Zion. I mean, I will say I think Jimmy is probably the optimal play there. I do kind of like Sabonis as a contrarian spend up. And obviously I like Zion. So I like all three. I think Jimmy is probably the optimal one there. Who do you think are playing on the blowout side for the Utah? It's a good question, and honestly, I think it's getting too cute to try to predict who's going to play in the blowout for Utah. Would just rather play the Houston guys. So like Gorgeous Niang, Ersan maybe, but like I don't think it's worth it to take a shot in these guys over the Houston guys. That's just my opinion. White or Patton is a good question. I think Derek White's got more upside. If you're shooting for the upside, it's Derek White. Patton I'm still fine with, but like I don't know if he's got massive upside. I'm rocking with Westbrook, Sexton, Keldon Johnson, Olynyk, Jokic, MPJ, Martin. Yeah, it's a little bit contrarian. Again, Sexton's not a guy I don't really like at that price point. Not saying, I mean, if there's no Darius Garland, he does get a boost, but we already have Larry Nance coming back, maybe Kevin Love coming back. Play Clarkson and move on. The thing with Clarkson is there are some games where he will play in the blowout, but there's also some games where he won't. I've seen both. So that's one where it's like you could bank on it. Like you could use Clarkson there, but there's still a chance he might get pulled. Like if it's like a 25-point game, I don't really see Clarkson playing in the blowout. Beal game time decision again. That's kind of what we expected. We'll just have to keep monitor it, right? And see who they start if in fact Beal's out. Grayson Allen available again. So Memphis is healthier. Lauri Markkanen, I just don't think we have to go there. Any value fading Butler Zion for Ingram? I mean, I wouldn't say value. If you want to get different, you can go to Brandon Ingram. Let's see. I'm honestly not really considering Ingram on the slate. He's kind of taking a backseat to Zion Williamson. And it's just the price doesn't really stand out. So it can happen, but I'm not banking on that. Randall, Porter Jr., Butler, Martin, Embiid, Westbrook, Olynyk, White. I like that. Is Beal a smash play because his ownership might be low? Not a smash play because I don't love the price at 9.7K. He will. So I will say, I mean, you guys kind of know by now, I like playing players once they get ruled in. Or if they get ruled in kind of late or like after lock. That's why I pivoted to get Eric Gordon in my lineup last night. Unfortunately, again, he got injured. But just because of the ownership. So like if we get Brad Beal ruled in news about 15 minutes before lock, I think he's a good tournament play because I don't think a lot of people are going to play him. Value besides Houston today? Yeah, so Magic, right? We got Randall, backup point guard, probably plays 25 to 30 minutes. And then, like, Dwayne Bacon is in play, but he's super dependent on scoring. I think Kem Birch is viable. It's kind of gross, but he's a mid-price. So you got a couple guys there for sure. Sterling Brown or Derek White? That's a tough one. It's really close. I think Derek White's got more upside. So if you're really shooting for the upside, Derek White. But Sterling Brown's still gonna. I like it's almost a coin flip there. Westbrook, Kevin Porter Jr., Jimmy Butler, Olynyk, Embiid, McLemore, Martin, and Aminu. Okay, Aminu will be low owned for value, so that is one way to get different. He shot absolutely terrible the last game. I think he played over 20 minutes and shot like 0 of 7. I'm expecting around 25 minutes for him. I will say the same thing about Al-Farouq Aminu as I said about Jayshawn Tate. I don't think he's a terrible play, but there's guys that are cheaper that are going to play similar minutes. So, like, I personally would probably rather play a guy like Randall or maybe Kem Birch over Al-Farouq Aminu just because they're about $1,000 cheaper. So that's just kind of my take there. He will be low owned, so that will differentiate your lineup. Which Houston 3? Let's see. So you got Kevin Porter Jr., Martin Jr., Patton, Brown, Tate, McLemore. I think it's Kevin Porter Jr. and Martin, and then it's close between the others. I don't have a super strong take in the last one, so I think those two are probably the first ones in because I feel the best about them. Sexton or Schroeder? I don't really want to play either. I mean, if price doesn't matter, it's Sexton, but it's just $8K for Colin Sexton on this slate. I mean, I know he played well before break. I guess it's Sexton there, but like I said, he is not someone I'm really considering. Value in Magic and Spurs along with Rockets. Yeah. So like if you consider guys like Keldon Johnson and Derek White value, then yes, those two plus the really cheap guys from Magic plus the Houston guys Is there a player you're looking to play that nobody is really talking about, like an Ingram? I'm going to be playing more of a chalky build today, so I don't think so. Let me just look at my lineup. I think almost everyone is going to be pretty popular that I have. Yeah, it's again. I got a pretty chalky lineup. White over Sterling Brown, Sexton over Schroeder. Yeah, again. So if price doesn't matter, obviously I prefer Sexton. I don't know if we have to go there in the slate. You think there'll be a lot of duplicated lineups today? Oh yeah, it's going to be really popular. So if you guys feel really good about, that's why my normal GBP build is I like playing a good amount of the chalk and maybe getting different in one or two spots. So ways you can differentiate yourself. Again, someone's playing Colin Sexton. I'm not really considering them, but hey, that's gonna really differentiate your lineup from the others. Maybe you take a shot in either Ja or Jonas Valanciunas. They're gonna go forgotten about on this slate. Maybe you take a shot in one of the Utah guys and just hope Houston keep it close, because everyone, including myself, are thinking the same thing. There's no way Houston can keep it close, right? Well, what that is gonna do is that's gonna make those Utah guys very, very low owned. And then you have LeBron and Sabonis in this last game that I also like to get different. So there's definitely ways to get different if you want to. And maybe I'll do something like that. Maybe I'll go to a Sabonis, or maybe I'll move my lineup around and go to LeBron. I don't look at ownership, so but I don't think Sabonis or LeBron are gonna be super popular on the slate. Bacon or Allen? Wait, so which Allen? Grayson? Oh. Dwayne Bacon. Yeah, just because of minutes. I don't really like Bacon, but 6.2K for utility. Let's see. All right, a couple more minutes, guys. I do it to get out of here. Go stream for Patreon. So 6.2K. I'll say Harrell. I think if you're going for the upside, Harrell. But the minutes can still fluctuate for him. I will say the Pacers are a bigger team with Turner and Sabonis. So, my guess is he plays 25 to 30. But there's that game, against Phoenix, where he started and only played 18 minutes. Now, that was a little bit weird because DeAndre Ayton didn't come back in. They closed with, Saric and Markieff Morris at the 5. That was super tilting because I had Montrez that night, and he wasn't that popular. But, I think if you're shooting for the upside, you go Montrezl Harrell. 5.5K in utility. Yeah, right? I'm not really looking to Osman or Ingles or Nance or Barton or Nunn or Otto or, you could go Adams and hope the minutes are there. Cleveland is a bigger team, so maybe he plays closer to the 30-minute mark. If not, then you just go to those Spurs, I think. You go to either Derek White or Keldon Johnson. It's kind of a weird range. I kind of like Lonzo. What do you think? Again, he's kind of like Brandon Ingram. Just the 7K price doesn't really stand out to me. It seems maybe a little bit overpriced. No, Lonzo, we've still seen some upside games. So like I said, he can get there. I'm not really considering him. Randall, Patty Mills, Porter, Martin, Embiid, Russ, Bacon, Jokic, GPP. Okay. Again, Patty Mills will be lower owned. I think he actually is a little bit safer, though, than White and Keldon. Like I said, I think those two have more upside. Chayshawn Love, yeah, I'm actually okay with it. He's min price. I'm expecting around 25 to 30 minutes, 4,500 for forward. All right, guys, one or two more questions. I'm a little bit over time, actually, but 4,500 for forward. I think it's Sterling Brown for me. Yeah, I think it's Sterling Brown. Chayshawn or McLemore, it's basically a coin flip there. McLemore's relying on the scoring. Randall's not a super high usage guy, but both should play minutes. Go Blue. Yeah, we got to win today, even though it started off not great. It's okay to fade the last game. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be really popular there. Risky to fade Olynyk. You can do it. I think he's one of the guys in the mid-range I'm considering. What's the late game? It's Lakers, Pacers. KBJ, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Chase Center, McLemore. I think flip a coin there. Bacon or Allen? Yeah, Bacon. Jokic or Embiid, I will say Embiid's going to be more popular. I think he's more the optimal play. If you want to, I mean, Jokic will still be popular, but not as much. If you want to get different, you can go Jokic. All right, guys, I am going to get out of here. So good luck to everyone. If you're on Patreon, I will see you here in a second. So have a great rest of your Friday, guys. Keep an eye on that news. Really what we're waiting for is just Brad Beal, right? If Brad Beal is out, Russell Westbrook becomes a really good play. Obviously increases the chance of a blowout. So it makes, Westbrook, Embiid slightly riskier, but still, again, a lot of upside. And then keep an eye on the starting lineup. If they start maybe a guy like Troy Brown or Jerome Robinson, would have some interest in those guys to kind of differentiate yourself from the chalk builds. But good luck, guys, and I will see you all back here tomorrow.